Hello and welcome to another episode of Mocha Latte After Dark. I am your host, JJ Fitzgerald, and today's topic is dating as a Gen Xer versus a Gen Zer. I have a lovely guest here. Her name is Dorian.
Hey guys.
I'm a Gen Xer and Dorian is a Gen Zer. So what is your take on this whole thing? What has been your dating experience?
It's been hard in my generation, I guess. There's not enough dating. It's more like hookups. And it makes it harder for people like me who want something that's serious and long-term to find someone that's on the same page.
Do you think it's harder for your generation than my generation?
I think it was easier to date back in the day because there wasn't any social media and there weren't dating sites. So I feel like now you have to do extra because everyone all over the world is connected now. People have certain expectations about looks. There's a lot of people that want you to look like an Instagram model, and right now it's all about having like a big butt and having fake teeth and having baby smooth skin that's usually not even real. It's like filtered, and there's a lot of expectations. And I feel like on both spectrums, on my generation and your generation, we all have to go through that as women, and it's just hard, but I feel like it's just harder now for my generation. How do you feel it is for you?
That's a tough question. I think we're both facing pretty much the same challenges. You would think that people in my age range would be more mature, not just looking for a hookup. I've come across many men that just want to have sex. There are sites specifically geared towards people who want a casual situation. Mm-hmm. And these men are on legitimate dating sites for people who are seeking really something more serious. So I don't understand why they just don't go over to the sites that are specifically geared towards people who just want to have something physical and nothing more than that. That's what really perturbs me the most about being online. But I do feel for your generation because I think people in your age range are seeking just fun. You would think that because of the technology that it would be easier, but it's harder because there are too many options now, especially for men. And not to mention, people are crazy. Would you agree with that, Dorian?
I definitely agree. I'm always worried about, is this person gonna be weird or creepy or even sex trafficking? I always worry about that because it's a lot of that goes on now. Just from just watching the news, it definitely makes you more paranoid now to go on a date because you don't know if you're gonna come back from the date or, yeah, they seem normal, but are they really normal?
And the thing that really bugs me the most, people will just go MIA on you, and I call it the cutest theory, where someone's talking to you, you have great rapport, you think, oh, this is cool, I made a connection, there's chemistry, and then they ghost you. And you're wondering, whoa, what happened? Well, they found cuter. And so usually when cuter or the cutest doesn't work out, they come back to cute. And that's when you get a random text several months later, hey, how you doing? And you're like, who is this, please? Because you haven't saved their number. And that's the thing, too, that men do. They save your number. I've had men reach out to me after several years of not hearing from them. Just hello, hey, how are you? And it's I don't even know this number. Who are you? It's John. John from where? Oh, we met on this dating site, 3 years ago. Why are you reaching me, number one? And why is my number still in your phone, number two? It's just weird.
I also agree with the cutest theory because I've dealt with that too, where someone just stops talking to me and it's we had a good conversation, nothing happened, and then they just ghost me, and then they text me months later hey, out of the blue, and then they get offended if I don't know who they are, and that pisses me off because it's I'm not leftovers, basically. I don't like when people think that they can just leave me on the sidelines, and then when whoever they were talking to doesn't work out or whatever, they can just come back to me and start talking to me again. I just find it very rude and disrespectful, kind of like I was just supposed to be waiting for you in a way, and like now that you're back, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, sure, let's keep talking. I just feel like once you stop talking to someone, just stop talking to them. And another good point you made was about people being on serious dating sites for hookups when there's like all of these hookup sites. Of course, my generation is more focused on hookups, like you said, which is kind of unfortunate because not all of us want to do that.
So let's go back to what you said about safety and being paranoid and all of that. What are some of the safety measures that you take when you do go out on a date with someone from an online dating site, or just in general?
For one, before I even talk to the person, I just look in their eyes to see if they're crazy. I usually can pick up like, oh, this person is off, and I can just read them. And then if I feel like they're crazy, I usually will just not talk to them or block them. And I've had instances where there's someone that just gives me like chills when I look at them, and so I'm like, I have to block them. And it goes to my other thing that I do. I just listen to my gut, because I feel like your gut usually doesn't steer you wrong. And when you go against it, that's when problems happen. But usually when I go on dates, of course, I put my location on, so my family knows where I am at all times. I also try to get as much information on the person beforehand, just so I can give it to my family so they know like what they look like, what car they're driving, like all of that information. And then I also like to just kind of watch the behavior of the person and just watching their body language too. If they're giving off any kind of weird energy or any weird vibes, I will usually just be like, okay, I'm just gonna go home. So I think it's good to be observant on a first date.
Not just the first date, but all dates subsequent to that, because people change. And yes, some people do bring their representative at first, and then like you said, they flip. And sometimes we miss those dangerous things about a person, especially if they're charming. We may actually see them and even take note of them, but say, oh no, I'm being extra right now. I'm being too paranoid or whatever. But those are the things that you should be paying a lot of attention to. As Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Pictures is another thing that you can look out for, and also to be careful about sending. Just because I've had people, they're like, send me pictures, and you haven't even cammed with them yet, so you don't know if they're really that person or not. But just be careful about sending pictures to just strangers, because you never know what they could do with those pictures. They could put them on sites or do something weird with them or pretend to be you to get money. So if you haven't cammed with them and you're just kind of unsure, I would also recommend like doing reverse image search. I've done that a few times and it's helped me a lot. Whatever your gut is telling you to do, then do that.
Yeah, you have to be super duper careful. Don't send your pictures out until you feel comfortable and you feel like you vetted this person thoroughly. And I agree with the location piece about putting your locator on so your family can track you, giving as much information as you can about the person you're going out with. All of these things are very important. And I understand some young adults feel like, oh, I'm grown now and I don't need to do that. But no, you do need to do it. And not just women, men too, because it's not only women that are being sex trafficked. Men are also being sex trafficked now. So everyone should be careful. Did you want to add something?
Not only that, but men are also more likely, I feel like, to get set up by women. I've heard a lot of stories where women go on dating sites pretending like they want to date a guy or hook up with a guy, and the guy doesn't do his research beforehand, so he ends up getting set up, and the girl usually has like a bunch of other guys waiting to rob the guy. So like I've heard stories where the guy shows up to the hotel waiting to meet with the girl, and he ends up getting robbed or killed because the girl basically set him up. So just be careful about just meeting anybody on the internet, especially now, because people are really crazy now and you never know like what intentions they have. So just be careful.
I concur. Thank you so much, Dorian, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Mocha Latte After